Hello viewers, welcome back to our YouTube channel. If you are new here, please hit the subscribe button and be a part of our family. The best sci-fi movies on Amazon Prime right now. Your entertainment guide, movie.
Be a decision. Be a lot worse.
Where's Mommy? Tell me now!
In this all-new adaptation of Stephen King's Firestarter, Zac Efron and Ryan Kiera Armstrong star as father-daughter duo Andy and Charlie, a family on the run from a secret government organization hellbent on harnessing their otherworldly abilities. As it turns out, an experimental procedure conducted years before has gifted Andy with telepathy and his daughter with pyrokinesis. But as Big Brother closes in, Andy and Charlie must do everything in their power to evade the onslaught and stay alive. While the overall critical consensus is that this latest Firestarter isn't as gripping as the 1984 adaptation, it's still an entertaining watch and a decent addition to Amazon's sci-fi lineup.
A real life.
Clockstoppers. Freeze the future.
Clockstoppers is your typical coming-of-age teen dramedy, but one with a hearty sci-fi backbone. The film stars Jesse Bradford as Zach Gibbs, the son of a prolific scientist who just so happens to have some ties to a top-secret NSA artifact, a wristwatch with the ability to freeze time using molecular rearrangement tools. But when Zach discovers the watch, he starts using the time-bending device to enact adolescent mayhem and hijinks all over town. At least until the NSA thugs start closing in on Zach and his friends. Clockstoppers is infested with tropes and bits and pieces of other more significant films, but if you're looking for something dazzling, but undemanding, it's a quick 90-minute adventure that has aged pretty decently over the last 20 years.
Perfect, come on. No.
Meander is the kind of movie that will have you thanking the walls and floors of your cozy and unassuming apartment for being a welcoming home that doesn't aim to kill you. Gaia Weiss stars as Lisa, a woman who receives a ride from a man named Adam, Pete Franson. During the ride, a startling revelation is immediately followed by a sleep-inducing blow to the head. When Lisa awakens, she finds herself in a tube-like cavity with a light-emitting bracelet strapped to her wrist. She soon learns that every 8 minutes a section of tubing is engulfed in flames, so she has no choice but to meander through the unending maze if she has any hope of surviving. Claustrophobic to the max, Meander's one-trick premise may wear a bit thin from time to time, but it's an exciting watch nonetheless.
Poor thing.
You're gonna die.
14 rules apply to everybody, Wade.
The feature debut of director Henry Hobson, Maggie stars Arnold Schwarzenegger and Abigail Breslin as Wade and Maggie Vogel, a father-daughter duo living life in a post-apocalyptic world overrun by zombies. After Maggie gets bitten, she flees the family farm to protect her kin, but Wade tracks her down. Desperate to find a cure for the cannibalistic virus that will consume his child, Wade and Maggie set off to search for any hope of salvation. In a rare dramatic performance from Schwarzenegger, he manages to subvert our action hero expectations, portraying a father who is willing to do all and anything if it means his daughter may have a chance of escaping a zombified existence.
Hey, old man! Try this.
Seeing as we've already seen wave after wave of actors getting the cape and cowl treatment, it was only a matter of time before the superhero story found its way to someone like Sylvester Stallone. The movie to do so is Samaritan, and while it's pretty par for the course in terms of narrative scope and set pieces, it's certainly not the worst blending of sci-fi action and drama we've ever seen. The story follows Sam Cleary, Javon Walton, a 13-year-old kid who is watching the world around him crumble. Crime is rampant, heroes are hard to come by, and the end times seem to be drawing near. But perhaps all is not lost. Mr. Smith, Stallone, could actually be Samaritan, a superhero who was the white knight of Sam's stomping grounds a long time ago. And it's up to the persistent and hopeful Sam to convince Mr. Smith to become a hero once more.
A sad, pathetic failure of a misanthrope! You're too afraid to let your friends leave!
Directed by Xavier Gens, Cold Skin is a filmic adaptation of the 2002 book of the same name. Our story follows a weather observer, David Oakes, who travels to a remote Antarctic outpost to study the area's climatology. But when a horde of vicious humanoid creatures emerge when the sun goes down, the unnamed man and a lighthouse keeper named Gruner, Ray Stevenson, are forced to do battle with the mysterious enemy. Packed with great performances and memorable makeup effects, Cold Skin may tread some familiar genre waters but does so in a fitting and stylistic manner. Director Jose Padilha's 2014 RoboCop remake may not have been the sci-fi reimagining the world asked for, but as a new take on the 80s cult sensation, it beats pretty strongly to its own drum while doing what it can to satisfy fans of the original. Joel Kinnaman stars as Detroit police officer Alex Murphy. After Murphy is injured in the line of duty, the robotics engineering minds at Omnicorp grasp at the opportunity to rebuild and revive him by outfitting the cop with an all-powerful mech suit. Back on the streets, Officer Murphy is now a nearly invincible cyborg. But will his impervious tech outweigh the soul of the man behind the armor? Action-heavy and visually stunning, RoboCop isn't exactly reinventing the wheel, but as a fresh spin on a beloved story, it deserves a watch.
Somehow, he's overriding the system's priorities.
This is the future of American justice.
Run my mind, it does not run me.
I run my mind. It doesn't run me.
The feature debut of co-writer/director Emmanuel Osei-Kuffer Jr., Black Box stars Mamoudou Athie as Nolan Wright, a widowed father who tragically gained amnesia from the same car accident that took his spouse's life. Left to raise their 10-year-old daughter Ava, Amanda Christine, Nolan's failing faculties convince him to take part in an experimental neurological procedure that could reconnect the ailing father with his memories and identity. Initial proceedings go pretty smoothly, but as the influence of neurologist Dr. Brooks, Felicia Rashad, Black Box begins to introduce unimaginable horrors to Nolan's psyche, he must choose between a life hindered by a loss of short-term memory and motor functions or one affected by medically induced monsters. Housed under producer Jason Blum's welcome to the Blumhouse umbrella of Amazon Original Features, Black Box is a riveting medley of sci-fi and horror that provides plenty of twists, turns, and rock-solid performances.
The place was really familiar.
You're getting close, stay with this.
So leave the police station right now during all the commotion.
There's another guy in here with me. It's another cop.
No, there's not. Check the mirror.
Got my attention, Mr. Wong. Oh, it gets better. A lot better.
Based on the David Wong novel of the same name and fittingly written and directed by none other than cult horror stalwart Don Coscarelli, Phantasm, Bubba Hodeb, John Dies at the end follows a group of hapless ex-college students who come into the possession of an otherworldly narcotic. After taking the drug, Dave, Chase Williamson, John, Rob Mays, and their acquaintances soon realize that the mind-altering chemical could actually be a portal into a dimension of cosmic, psychological horrors. Frantic from the first scene to the last, John Dies at the end barrels along at one crazy and kinetic speed, so do buckle up before joining the on-screen madness.
Move, now.
Hello, Nemo.
Nemo!
Written and directed by Jaco Van Dormiel, Mr. Nobody stars Jared Leto as Nemo Nobody, a man well over 100 years old who just happens to be the last mortal man on Earth. Now on his deathbed, as Nemo's memory slowly starts to fade, he recounts his life to a reporter. When you've lived a life as long as one Nemo Nobody, there are plenty of profound stories to tell. With a narrative hinged on the multiverse theory, Van Dormiel's surreal sci-fi masterpiece is a triumphant and visually bold piece of art, further powered by a strong leading performance from Jared Leto.